May 22. It looks like the English clubs are doing so well in European competitions this season because even in the Conference League, Crystal Palace yesterday defeated Shakhtar Donetsk to qualify to the Conference League final where they will play Real Vallecano. So what it means is that we have Arsenal in the final of the UEFA Champions League from England, Crystal Palace in the UEFA Conference League from England, and Aston Villa in the UEFA Europa League final from England. Yes. What does this mean to English football? Is it on the rise? Is that the most competitive league across the globe? To have a lowdown on all the matches played last night, Real Madrid have opened disciplinary proceedings against Federico Valverde and Aurelien Tchouameni after Valverde was taken to a hospital with a head injury following a fight between the two players. Can you imagine? Charlie, but I cited the story here. You know that somebody actually opened this online portal to receive signatures. This player wants, this particular person I'm talking about wants Kylian Mbappe out of Real Madrid. So he was soliciting signatures. And as we speak, he's gotten over 44 million signatures. For perspective, Spain has a population of 50 million. Can you imagine? It tells you that people are really mad at this particular player. He scored 40 goals in all competitions this season for Real Madrid. But his season has been blighted by off-field incidents. Bayern Munich have opened talks with Newcastle United over a potential summer move for Anthony Gordon, and a top footballer is under investigation over claims he sent inappropriate posts to a 15-year-old schoolgirl. Charlie, 15-year-old schoolgirl. Well, his name is Alex Jimenez. He plays for AFC Bournemouth. And Bournemouth have released a statement saying that the player is not going to play this weekend as investigations continue. These and many more issues will come on board from the foreign segment of the show. Before we zoom into the local segment, mining company Goldfields Ghana has announced a landmark sponsorship agreement worth $5 million over a 2-year period to support Ghana football. This sponsorship deal covers the Black Stars, the Black Queens, the Black Challenge, and the Ghana Women's Premier League. We'll hear from Keto Kroku, GFA President, and of course, Managing Director of Goldfields Ghana. The Ghana Premier League enters week 32 this weekend. Some interesting matches have been lined up. Hasselhoff will be at home to face Atapuku's Abiana Football Club. Asante Kotoko at the Babayawa Sports Stadium will play 11 Wonders, and there is Bashake Holy Stars versus Mediama Sporting Club. Black Stars news and Accra goalkeeper Benjamin Asare has earned a late call-up to replace Gideon Asiako for the international friendly against Mexico. Why this decision? Well, no official reason from the camp of the Ghana Football Association. But I think I have some theories around this particular decision. So I will share that theory with my listeners. May 9, 25th anniversary commemoration start today. Mr. Herbert Mensah, as we speak, is at the Manchia Palace together with his team to meet His Majesty Otunfo Osei II. We will touch base at the Manchia Palace and speak to our colleague Prince Redu. Princeton is not in the studio today, so he's at the Manchia Palace and we'll be raising him on the telephone and tell us what the May 9 commemoration team have been doing today and what they will be doing tomorrow as well as Sunday. So these and many more issues have been slated on today's edition of the Last Pause Blaze Extra, powered by the Last Pause team, brought to you in association with Rush Energy Drink. When you have the extra bit of ambition in your heart, you also need that extra bit of energy to come through, and for that, Rush Energy Drink is the boost you need, created in the USA and proudly made in Ghana. Thanks to its unique formula, you have the power of ginseng, the benefit of vitamins, and the energy of inositol, taurine, and caffeine. So anytime you feel like taking an energy drink, just grab a bottle of Rush Energy Drink to revitalize you. It's a quality product from Trillium Industrial Limited. For both purchase, please call 0322 190 877 0322 190 877. Rush Energy Drink. Stay active and energized. Joshua, hello, good afternoon. How are you doing?
Good afternoon, Zando.
I hope you're fine.
Yeah, I'm doing very well. Yeah.
You sure?
I had a flu, but I'm recovering. So yeah.
Okay, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
It's normal.
Definitely, yeah.
It's normal when you exhaust your voice like that, but I mean, you'll be healed as soon as possible, okay? Okay, so we've got Black Star stories on our table to discuss. There's this, beautiful story from the mining company Goldfields after announcing a $5 million sponsorship deal with some national teams. And of course, the meltdown at Real Madrid continues. As we speak, the club official has opened disciplinary proceedings against these two players, but more after the foreign rap. Please stay and enjoy the foreign rap. We'll be back shortly to zoom into the discussion. It's a Friday, time to get your foreign wrap on the Last Pause Blitz Extra. My name is Stephen Nizando. First off, Aston Villa blew Nottingham Forest away 4-0 at the Villa Park yesterday to win 4-1 on aggregate and reach the Europa League final. Freiburg also beat Braga by 3-1 to qualify 4-3 on aggregate. So, the final of the Europa League is set. Aston Villa will play Freiburg at the Besiktas Stadium in Istanbul, Turkey on May 20, 2026. Aston Villa manager Unai Emery spoke to the media after qualifying to the final.
Very happy to enjoy this momentum with the supporters and in Villa Park, this semi-final second leg here. Of course, we needed them and they supported us. Was a great atmosphere today. And the players, they responded fantastic. After the first leg, how we were planning the match today, how we prepared the days before, and on the field they were today so focused.
That was the voice of Aston Villa manager Unai Emery. In the UEFA Conference League, Crystal Palace will take on Real Vallecano in their first European final after a 2-1 win at the Selhurst Park and a 5-2 aggregate Conference League semi-final victory over Shakhtar Donetsk helped the Eagles book a place in Leipzig. Away from the games, Real Madrid have opened disciplinary proceedings against Federico Valverde and Aurelien Tchouameni after Valverde was taken to hospital with a head injury following a fight between the pair. The teammates were involved in a physical confrontation at the end of training on Wednesday, with Tempest understood to have fled again in training on Thursday. Meanwhile, an online petition calling for Kylian Mbappe to leave Real Madrid has seen massive yet largely suspect signature numbers, with reports yesterday claiming over 44 million people have signed to get the player out of the club. Sky Sports reporter Kavi Soiliko has described Real Madrid as a fighting club.
I mean, Real Madrid seem to have turned into the fight club. The players at the moment are holding a crisis meeting at their training ground after some extraordinary events over the last 24 hours. What happened yesterday is that there was a physical confrontation between two Real Madrid players on the training pitch, between Fede Valverde and Aurelien Tchouameni. Now, we see that kind of thing happen a lot, but this was a fight on the training pitch. Normally then what happens is that the players kiss and make up. What happened here is the players came back to training today, trained again, and there was another altercation. Nothing was settled. At the end of the training session, they went back into the dressing room and there was a fight between the two players, and it ended up with Valverde having to go to hospital with a suspected head injury. Now, thankfully, he was discharged pretty quickly, and he returned to Real Madrid's training ground for this crisis meeting.
That was the voice of Sky Sports reporter Kavil Soiko. Now, the Team Talk is reporting that Manchester City are contenders to sign Real Madrid and Brazil forward Vinicius Jr. with just over a year left on the 25-year-old's contract at the Bernabeu. Away from that, Colombian pop star Shakira has unveiled her official song for the 2026 World Cup featuring Nigerian art Burna Boy. The 49-year-old, behind hits such as Whenever, Wherever, and Hips Don't Lie, teased Die Die on Thursday as the anthem for this summer's tournament in the USA, Mexico, and Canada. Now, Brighton head coach Fabian Hassler has signed a new 3-year contract. The 33-year-old's previous Seagulls deal was due to expire in the summer of 2077, but he has now committed his future to Brighton until the summer of 2029. In boxing, Floyd Mayweather Jr. says a deal for every match with Manny Pacquiao could be finalized within 48 hours. Talks for the second fight are nearing completion. Mayweather made this comment on Thursday while promoting his upcoming 27 June exhibition against Mike Zimbidis at Telecom Center Athens in Greece. Here is Mayweather on fighting Manny Pacquiao.
I know everybody is going to want to ask questions, about the Pacquiao fight. Like I said, the sport of boxing has truly changed. We have a lot of new companies, a lot of new faces, and Netflix. I truly believe that we'll get this done. I think we're almost at the finish line to finish the Pacquiao fight. But a lot of things has changed in the sport of boxing. And eventually, I think within the next 48 hours, either the Pacquiao fight should be done.
That was Floyd Mayweather speaking there. Lastly, World Athletics has rejected a recommendation by the International Olympic Committee that a ban on Belarusian athletes and teams competing under the flag of their nation should be lifted. On Thursday, the IOC's executive board urged international sports federations and event organizers to allow the country to return to international competition while keeping restrictions on Russia in place. Both countries were suspended from Olympic competition after Russia's invasion of Ukraine in 2022, with Belarus a close ally of Russia. A partial ban allowing athletes to compete as neutrals was introduced in 2023. Bringing an end to the foreign wrap on the Last Pause Blitz Extra, powered by the Last Pause team. That was Shakira background song. She calls this one Die Die official woke up song, but she released a teaser yesterday and we are waiting for the full audio to be released in there. But I think that's a beautiful thing, right?
It is.
She does it so well, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
there's a thing about Shakira in the World Cup.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you know, in 2006 she did the track. Then in 2010 the famous Waka Waka came around.
Yeah.
Then in 2014 she also did a very good track.
Yeah.
Then after that, in 2018, we didn't get anything from her. It looks like she's back in business.
Yes.
And from the teaser you just played, Zando, this track, when it comes out, it has Burna Boy on it as well.
I mean, it featured an African star.
Yes.
So you can imagine.
Yeah, that's an electric track already.
Yes.
And I think by the time the full track comes out, Charlie, the World Cup FIFA would have caught us.
You know what I'm hoping for? One day, a Ghanaian will feature on, a big platform like this. We've got a lot of talented musicians in this country. Yeah. Who can easily feature on such a big platform?
We will not mention it before to create some controversy.
That one I will not mention it. Okay, so the names I will mention, there will be no controversy.
Potapa?
Oh, no, I can mention Kofi Kenyatta. If you mention Kofi Kenyatta, Kenyatta is...
Yeah, everybody would accept and say something like...
But once you mention the SM movement and Stonebwoy...
that's a different conversation.
What is the waving movement for Stonebwoy? The Big Nation
the
people.
Big Nation
and then the Sack Nation.
Yeah.
That one there.
You create a different conversation.
Anyway, so Real Madrid... I don't know, before that, should we look at the fact that the English clubs have been performing well in European competitions this season? Crystal Palace in the Conference League final, Aston Villa in the Europa League final, and there's Arsenal in the Champions League final. Yesterday, Aston Villa actually destroyed Nottingham Forest, let me put it that way, by 4 goals. In fact, before the game, Nottingham Forest had a 1-0 advantage from the first leg, but they lost by 4 goals in Villa Park. I was watching the game, and for me, Forest didn't come to the party at all. But the summary of it is that it looks like the English clubs have done well this season in European competitions.
Yeah. Zando, you can look at it from quite a number of angles, right? The first of it is the quality of the English Premier League.
Okay.
I think when you look across board, Europe's top 5 leagues, you can say without a doubt that English Premier League, week in, week out, when we see the games being played over there, we can accord a level of respect
to the game.
Yes. You get a Brighton and Hove Albion, travel to Stamford Bridge, grab 3 points from Chelsea.
To stage upset.
And these things are very common in the English Premier League. When you also look at the quality that each of these teams have based on the amounts of monies, the funding that they pump into player recruitment, it is easy for you to also say that when you compare a team like Crystal Palace to a team like Rayo Vallecano, a player who is playing as a third choice option in the midfield for Crystal Palace instantly becomes a first choice player at the Rayo Vallecano team. So it is a comparison of two teams that, yes, play for different leagues, number one, but in terms of quality, the English Premier League has always been on top there. Again, when you look at how much the English Premier League makes in terms of TV rights, Zando, it's about 30 times that of what the La Liga does.
And the other leagues.
I don't have the exact figures. But roughly, TV rights in the English Premier League is close to about 1 point something billion.
A team can go to relegation.
Yes.
And that team will get like 100 million pounds. Can you imagine?
TV rights.
Yes.
So that has been the argument in favor of the English Premier League. But let's look at it from the managerial level as well. Look at the three teams that are going to play in the finals of all the European club competitions.
Arsenal, Mikel Arteta, Unai Emery, Aston Villa.
Yes.
And then Oliver
Glasner for Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
Let's start with Arsenal. Look at Mikel Arteta and what he has built with Arsenal over the years. One can understand that when you compare him to other managers in the Champions League this season, when you even look at who he's going to face in a Luis Enrique in the final, toe to toe, in terms of tactics, yes, Arteta has also found a way to carve his own niche.
Of course.
And he's rubbing shoulders with the big boys.
Yeah.
When you look at Oliver Glasner as well, he has built something remarkable with this Crystal Palace team.
Of course, rubbing shoulders with the big boys in England.
In fact, he's not going to continue at the end of the season.
Yeah.
But when you look at the fact that when he came in, he's changed a lot of things in Crystal Palace. Look at players like Ismail Assar playing for Crystal Palace and the kind of results that they help Crystal Palace to achieve every week. Then you go to Aston Villa. Zano, who is Aston Villa's manager? Unai Emery.
Yeah.
Unai Emery is the king of the Europa League.
Yeah. He used to win.
He won the Europa League
Sevilla.
in 2014, 2015 and 2016 with Sevilla.
Yeah.
Then in 2020-2021 season, he won it with Villarreal.
Yeah.
So there's no coach who knows how to play the Europa League better
than
Unai Emery.
He's the master of that trophy.
Which is why when they were coming into the second leg at home at the Villa Park against Nottingham Forest, I said before the game began that look, there's no way Victor Pereira would have the upper hand over Unai Emery in this game.
Wow.
And rightly so. Victor Pereira, I can appreciate how he's transformed Nottingham Forest. They have had their own troubles this season. They are on their fourth manager for one season.
Yeah.
But you are playing against Unai Emery at the Villa Park. And I think they could have even scored more than 4 goals. But that is what we saw in yesterday's game. Zando, clearly, English teams have exerted their superiority on all the European Cup competitions based on these things I've spoken about. When you even look at the coefficient issue, because of the fact that when we got to the round of 16 stage, I think it was a quarter-final stage rather.
The last 8.
Once we got a draw from one of the English teams, it meant that next season we're going to have an additional English team
in the
Champions League.
Yes.
And that is attributed to the fact that over the last few years we have had consistent performances from English teams in the Champions League.
Yeah.
So if you look at all of these variables and you put them together, and you have more English teams playing in the Champions League and representing in the Europa League and the Conference League, definitely you get one of them getting far.
Do you foresee these English teams conquering all these competitions that they've qualified for the final?
I don't think it should be difficult.
So
maybe the Arsenal PSG is an outlier because of how cagey that.
Of it.
No, it is. But I want to look at the others.
Okay, Aston Villa, Freiburg. I think Villa can easily negotiate that fix.
No, they can. They should be able to win it.
And then Vallecano versus
Crystal Palace. Yeah. Crystal Palace should be able to thump Rayo Vallecano on that day by even 3 or more goals to win it.
So we left with Arsenal.
That is why I'm saying that Arsenal seems like an outlier.
Okay.
Because of the fact that that game is too close to call.
Okay, sure.
But if Arsenal do their things well on the day, then they would have made England proud. All 3 teams playing in the final from England win their respective trophies. And it gives it gives the English Premier League more respect at the European stage.
It used to be the Spanish clubs dominating European competitions.
Yes.
Because like you mentioned, at the time that Sevilla were dominating the Europa League, there were Barcelona and Real Madrid dominating the UEFA Champions League.
Yes, exactly.
And so even before the introduction of the UEFA Conference League. So it speaks to the fact that the Premier League is really on top of its game. And like you're saying, I just wish that the other developing leagues were able to take a cue from what the Premier League does, especially how they've packaged the league to the extent that they're able to attract top sponsorship deals. TV rights alone is enough to, as it were, feed these clubs. A team can be relegated, and that team is going down with £100 million. Can you imagine? So, Charlie, it is really, really serious. But, on the brighter side of life, we'll talk about the Ghana Football Association, who just secured a $5 million sponsorship deal from the this mining firm, Goldfields Ghana. But that's not for our local league. It's for the Women's Premier League.
A select number of
selected national teams as well. But quick one. It looks like Real Madrid have made their intentions clear that they've moved to instill discipline in camp, for which reason they've initiated disciplinary proceedings against these two players, Aurelien Tchouameni and Federico Valverde. Well, I've seen this AI-generated video. I don't want to talk about it. I mean, but you see, how the issue started on Wednesday, there was a fracas, confrontation. And, these things are normal in football. Players literally fight every day during training, all right? But these players move on, especially when the coaches speak to them. But for these two players to carry to the next day, which is yesterday, to the extent that Federico Valverde officially suffered a head injury because of that altercation, it makes it serious. What is happening in Real Madrid?
In fact, the situation that is prevailing at Real Madrid is just one out of many. In fact, you spoke about the petition, the online petition for Kylian Mbappe to be removed from the team. And it was expected that 200,000 people would have signed it, but now we are approaching 44 million. Zando, these things have become issues that teams are trying as much as possible to avoid. That is why when I read the statement from Federico Valverde, I realized that this issue is deeper than we thought initially.
But honestly, I didn't get anything from his statement. It looks like he was lying.
No, but you see, a part
he
of
was
it
just
said,
trying to package the...
He said, in every normal dressing room, these issues should be solved without it going out.
Oh, but we know that it is a normal happening in every dressing room.
Which is why that disciplinary action would not really carry its full effect if the right things are not done. Because initially, earlier in the season, I think in April, we saw how Carreras was slapped by Rudiger. And he quickly made amends by
the player and
the family, and they went for dinner and they quashed that issue. We also saw how Kylian Mbappe in training was so offended by an official who flagged him for offside in the training game. And because of that, he insulted the official. Then we saw how the same Kylian Mbappe, after sustaining a hamstring injury, left camp and went to Italy on a holiday when the team was trying to grind results, trying to get points in the La Liga. And he left everything behind and was chilling in Italy. Then the Federico Valverde and Aurelien Tchouameni bust up. Two incidents in 24 hours. So you can see for a fact that there's disunity in the camp of Real Madrid. Zando, the reason why Real Madrid must be very careful about what is going on in there is because they know for a fact that 2 years now, they haven't won any major trophy. And if indeed they have agreed that they cannot work with Alvaro Arbeloa and his coaching pedigree is not the one that they are looking for, and the people at the top, including Florentino Perez, Jose Sanchez, and the board of Real Madrid cannot identify the fact that this is a time where they need to change things, I really don't know what Real Madrid want to achieve in the next few years. Because everybody agrees that Real Madrid is a team that attracts big names. But these big names have become disruptive egos in the dressing room. Look at Vinicius Jr. Look at Kylian Mbappe. Now we have two factions. And now, players are not even talking to the coach. Players are not talking to themselves. What kind of atmosphere are they using to approach games in that Real Madrid team, which is why I'm not shocked. Now you get a Real Madrid who can play the Champions League game against Manchester City and beat them 5-1 on aggregate. Then the next week, they are losing against Getafe. You wonder what is the inconsistency about?
So I have this breaking news from the camp of Real Madrid, and this statement was released from the club just 10 minutes ago. Now the summary of the breaking news is that I'll go through the statement for you. The two players, Aurelien Tchouameni and Federico Valverde, appeared before the investigator today.
Okay.
Those players expressed their complete remorse. They apologized to each other, and this is where the juice is. For their sanction, 500,000 euros has been imposed on each player.
Bazando,
so that's the punishment. Let me go to the statement. Real Madrid announces that following the event that led to the disciplinary proceedings initiated yesterday against our players Federico Valverde and Aurelien Tchouameni, both appeared today before the investigator assigned to the case. During their appearance, the players expressed their complete remorse for what's happened and apologized to each other. Furthermore, they extended their apologies to the club, their teammates, the coaching staff, and the fans, and both have made themselves available to Real Madrid to accept whatever sanction the club deems appropriate. Under these circumstances, Real Madrid has decided to impose a financial penalty of 500,000 euros on each player, thereby concluding the proceedings or the corresponding internal procedures.
But this is just one out of the many issues that are going on.
But it'll be fine. That's their punishment.
Bazando.
Chelsea were supposed to do that with Enzo Fernandez. They didn't do that. They were suspended him for
the Chelsea situation, but
it's different.
What I'm saying is that
let's wrap up.
This amount of money that has been imposed upon them as a fine for them to pay is not something that is out of the world.
No, but that's like 2 weeks salary for some of these players. And it's serious.
But is that so hard for them to pay? It is not, Zando, and you know it. You see, what I'm saying is that Florentino Perez has a lot of work to do.
Sure.
In terms of realigning the original values of Real Madrid, or deciding that this is the time where he would have to tweak a number of things, because as the president, the buck stops with you to get things in the rightful order. If this is the time they can agree with themselves that Kylian Mbappe needs to be brought to order, he needs to be called out, we need to sit him down and talk to him, because he has a contract until 2029. So yes, over 44 million people have signed that petition. It doesn't look realistic that he can be taken out of the team anytime soon.
Of course.
But an action needs to be taken. Because you cannot overlook 44 million petitions just like that. You'd want to look at it carefully and understand what you can do to remedy the situation.
Okay, let's wrap up.
In a nutshell, whatever happens, if Real Madrid are going to appoint Jose Mourinho,
the special one,
then clearly he is coming in to fix some of those disruptive egos. But a lot would be hinged on how he can agree with Florentino Perez as to being given the entire control over this Real Madrid team.
All right. Let's move into the local segment. I think it's 34 minutes past 3. At 4 p.m., we'll make way for the drive time to come through with a drive. But mining company Goldfields has announced a landmark sponsorship agreement worth $5 million over a 2-year period to support Ghana football. The sponsorship package unveiled this morning at the company's headquarters in Accra covers the Black Stars, the Black Queens, Black Challenge, that is the amputee football team, and the Ghana Women's Premier League. That's really, really good for me. Now, the agreement is expected to provide significant financial and logistical support to the various national teams and women's football development in the country. The inclusion of the Black Challenge in the sponsorship package has also been widely praised, highlighting a growing commitment towards inclusivity and support for para sport in the country. Here is Elliot Chum, Managing Director of Goldfields Ghana.
20 years since Goldfield's first sponsorship of the Black Stars, and with Ghana's qualification for the 2026 World Cup, we reaffirm our support at a time when national pride and global attention converge. We are here today to announce a $5 million sponsorship package for 3 national teams: the Black Stars, the Black Queens, the Black Challenge, and indeed the female league, national league. And also to support, the package covers a period of 2 years. This, I can see, makes us an official partner partner of the GFA, and by extension, official partner of the Black Stars, the Black Queens, the Black Giants, and the Women's Premier League.
On his part, Ghana Football Association President Kurt Kriku assured the Black Stars of Ghana would deliver their best performance at the World Cup tournament.
Very soon, our Black Stars will be coming out of the tunnel to represent our country during the Mundial in the US and in Canada and in Mexico. These resources will help us to adequately prepare the team, and we are very, very positive about the team putting up one of the best performances ever in the history of the Ghanaian game.
All right, so that was GFA President Kurt Kriku speaking. Joshua, I think it's good news, right? For me, my question is that, and I'm sure we'll be speaking to Henry tomorrow to bring some clarity, how are we going to distribute this press adequately to support women's football development, especially when it is the Ghana Premier League is in there, and of course there's Black Stars, because Black Stars will always be favored. There's that bias towards the Black Stars. So how do you make sure that this huge press favors the Black Queens, the Ghana Premier League, as well as the Black Challenge?
I had the same question, and a subsequent question I was thinking about was that why didn't we make this funding an allocation in the sports fund? Because the sports fund, I know, is in full operation now.
Of course.
And I was expecting that now that you are trying to
regularize
things, then let this fund or let this funding that you are allocated to these national teams be rather sent to the sports fund.
Maybe the only difference is that this is Ghana football. This is not the entire sports enclave in this country, right?
Okay.
And so the sports fund covers every sporting discipline. This is just Ghana football. And so that's why even Ghana football, not all the products under the Football Association benefited from this sponsorship deal. And only the national teams and only the Premier, like the Women's Premier League. So I'm sure that's why probably they didn't consider putting this under the sports fund, because the sports fund covers all sporting disciplines.
But again, this is a huge amount of money, Zanu.
Yeah, $5 million.
Yes,
it can do a lot.
So it would have sounded right. I'm not dictating to Goldfields as to what they should have done, but it would have sounded right if at least an amount was dedicated towards the sports fund. Okay, well, maybe more to come. We are Oliver Tours and we'll ask for more. Let me take you to Manchester Palace and speak to my colleague Prince Radio, who's on the telephone. Prince, good afternoon. You're still live on Sports Blitz Extra. How are you doing?
Zando, I'm doing well. What about you?
Great. So you're at Manchester Palace, right?
Yes.
So tell us, we hear that the man who has been spearheading the commemoration of the May 9 Stadium disaster, Mr. Herbert Mensah, is at the Manchester Palace together with his team. And of course, earlier today, he made a series of donations as well as some activities have been done already. Tomorrow, some activities are expected as well as Sunday. So far, what can you tell us? What have they been doing today?
Well, Zando, it's that time of the year again where we Ghanaians, we commemorate the 25th anniversary of the May 9th disaster that happened in 2001 at Accra Sports Stadium. Herbert Mensah, who was then the board chairman of Asante Kotoko, the team that was involved in that disaster, is here again in Kumasi. And from the morning, they went to the Central Mosque to pray with the chief imam. And right after the prayer, they donated assorted drinks to the families of the victims of that disaster that happened in 2001. So they have received their fair share of this celebration. Right from there, up next is a visit to live patron of Asante Kotoko, His Majesty Otumfuo to the second. And so they are waiting to meet Otumfuo to the second. As we speak, we are still waiting here to meet His Highness. And to mention that this visit has been graced by some other dignitaries with Herbert Mensah. We know that in 2001, a month before this disaster in Ghana, the same thing happened in South Africa, Zando, at the Ellis Park Stadium, where the deadliest sporting incident in South African history. 43 people died in the stampede in the Soweto derby between Kaizer Chiefs and Orlando Pirates. So they have joined the team here in Ghana since that disaster, and they become a family. So they are also officials from these parties in Ghana with Herbert Mensah, and they join the team to visit Otumfuo to the second. And as I mentioned, that group from South Africa have become a part of this group. We also have the president of Ghana Olympic Committee, Richard Akpokwabi. He was then the chairman of the GFA Disciplinary Committee in 2001, and he's joined Herbert Mensah here today. As I mentioned, there's a donation to the victims of the families, and then there's a prayer at the mosque. Tomorrow, there will be a float with a team involving over 100 people on the streets of Kumasi in the morning. So that's the final thing they will be doing for this celebration, as confirmed by the team over here. So after the meeting with Otumfosu to the second, tomorrow there's a float on the street of Kumasi. They have designed some beautiful shirts written in front. May that never happen again. In front of that very beautiful shirt, white colored. So that is what you need to know that is going to happen tomorrow. Some remarks from Herbert Mensah. He said it's been a long time, 25 years, but it's still a short time for him. And things like that have changed his perspective as a person. It's not become materialistic. And also he made some comments on the investigations that were done following the incident at Accra Sports Stadium. He says government haven't done enough to implement the recommendations that were made to ensure the standards of stadium safety in Ghana. He also says you look at the leadership of sports in Ghana, in particular football. We have to look at it very, very well. Richard Akokabi also added that there's been some improvements in terms of the standards, but there's still a lot more to be done by Ghana as a country. So, Zando, it's been a calm event so far from the morning to the afternoon. There's more to happen, and then tomorrow as well. So I must say that this commemoration has turned into a celebration and also a foundation, as Herbert himself describes it, because throughout these 25 years, there have been a lot of charity works done. And he mentioned a specific story about Rani, a lady who lost her husband at the time she was pregnant. Now that child was born and now has graduated from the university.
Wow.
He's looking for some support to continue. He mentioned that the companies have come in to support Kivo and the other likes have come to support laptops and other gadgets. Also, the team has received some good news from foundations like the Shenyang Shenyot Children's Heart Foundation.
Yeah.
They've saved lives, over 110 children's lives from hole in heart. Surgeries that have been done for these children since it happened. So it has changed a lot of lives after 25 years, Sando.
I mean, that's a comprehensive, really, really great. But do we have some family members of the victims following the team?
Yes, I mean, from the Muslim community, right from the mosque, they all joined to the Mensah Palace. As I'm speaking, we are yet to organize the whole team to meet 247. So when we do that, we'll be able to identify them and probably get some specific stories from them.
Now, lastly, before you take leave of us, I mean, the two participating clubs then in 2001, Accra, Zivok and Asante Kotoko, do we have members of these clubs following Mr. Herbert Mensah for the commemoration? The big event is tomorrow anyway. That's the 25th anniversary is tomorrow, but it started today. Do we have officials of Asante Kotoko and Asante following the team?
For Kotoko, we have officials from the team. Unfortunately, I can't give you the specific names.
Sure, I get it.
Officials, yes, but we are certain that tomorrow parties from Kotoko or Hasselfolk will certainly be there to continue these celebrations.
All right, thank you very much, Prince. That's a comprehensive report. So we'll leave it here. Kindly follow the issues and bring us more perspectives for tomorrow's kickoff show. Thank you very much, Princeton. And that was my colleague, Princeton Redu, who is at the Mensah Palace following the 25th anniversary of the May 9 commemoration. I think the donation part hits me, and the fact that, I mean, that child who was born 6 months after that sad incident happened, he's now graduated from the university, and that's really good. It means that Mr. Herbert Mensah and his team and their foundation probably have been helping these people. They've reached out to these people, the families of the victims since 2000, and that's really good.
Yeah. In fact, I'm so happy with a lot of the things that Princeton mentioned. Yeah, and I can't wait for the main event tomorrow. But I think kudos again to Herbert Mensah and everything that he has done to help all of these families. It looks like he alone has spearheaded these activities over the years.
To do that consistently, Charlie.
You know, so I mean, I really want to pray and hope that the government of the day would also step in to maybe institutionalize a May 9th fund. Because if a number of families have been affected and some of them still need support, Zando, I don't think Herbert Mensah alone can continue this for I don't know how many years to come.
Okay, we'll open the phone lines in a moment, but like I mentioned, the Ghana Premier League enters week 32 this weekend. Tomorrow on kickoff, we'll be here to preview all the matches. Hasselfolk is playing Aviana Stars, and then of course, Media Sporting Club will travel to play Bashiko Holy Stars. Asante Kotoko will be at the Babaya Sports Stadium to play bottom place 11 Wonders, where should be far for Kotoko. If you don't beat 11 Wonders tomorrow, 11 Wonders have played 30 matches. They have just 10 points. And if Kotoko cannot beat this
1 point each game.
If Kotoko cannot beat this 11 Wonders team, Charlie, you relax tomorrow. Bibiani Gold Stars were supposed to play Hoho United, but Hoho have withdrawn from the Ghana Premier League, so that game has been cancelled. Quick one, Black Stars. Benjamin Asari of Accra Vocal has been invited to replace Gideon Asiako of Dreams FC. But first off, this guy's inclusion in the Black Stars list for this particular friendly came to me as a surprise. Yeah. Because if you look at the best goalkeepers we have in the Ghana Premier League, for me, he doesn't come close to the top 5. He doesn't. Because top of mind, I can mention Zakari Musa of Samatex, Imono Kobi of Bibiani Gold Stars. I can mention Felix Che of Media Sporting Club. All these are better goalkeepers than Gideos. And so the FA failed to attach a reason to that, why they've dropped this guy and of course replacing Benjamin Asari. Maybe this guy was not supposed to be there in the first place. And I have been told that it was a typo.
No, it cannot be Zando. I don't think so.
No, but that's the reason out there. No, because apart from that, what stops the FA from attaching a reason to this particular decision? That you invite a goalkeeper from Dreams FC, and then 48 hours after the call-up was announced, you replace him with Benjamin Asari. For Benjamin Asari, we know that he's an outlier because he's already part of the Black Stars Team A. This call-up is for the Team B players. And so, why do you make the decision to include later? Okay, well, there's no official report or official reason from the GFA. And I don't want to also speculate and deepen the issues. But, Charlie, it looks like the theory out there is that this guy was probably invited because of the club that he plays for.
Dreams FC. Mm-hmm. And we all know the affiliations of Dreams
exactly.
FC.
So, anyway. But Benjamin Asai, for me, Benjamin Asai should not have been invited.
I also agree with you on that because
he's part of the team A.
Yes. And if indeed we're resting our players and getting them to prepare better or whatever it is, maybe they had other engagements with their respective club teams, and I think he should have been recused. But bringing him back in again, it raises so many other questions, right?
That this guy was not supposed to be there in the first place.
But he's there. And then now you are replacing him, you are bringing in Benjamin Asari, who is a first-team goalkeeper.
Anyway, 0322083596, 0322083597, 0322083598. Please start calling and let's have a conversation on what we've discussed. We have May 9 t-shirt to share. Mervin, please pick the calls for me, I beg you. 0322083596, 0322083597, 0322083598. Hello, good afternoon.
Zando, good afternoon.
I'm Ike from Dummies Best CE. My guy, how are you doing?
Bro, I'm blessed. How are you?
I'm good. Let's hear you.
Yeah, I want to tackle on the issue of Real Madrid. I think in the recent happenings, it is obvious that Real Madrid need a coach who has the balls to manage players with ego. So that, other than that, I don't see how they are going to resolve this issue. So I think the calling of Jose Mourinho is a right call. So I think this is the time we need Mourinho. And then a bit on that, what they said, they claim to be typo.
No, that's not official reason. That's what I have been told, but that's not the official reason from the FA.
Okay, so let's hope so that it continues to be a typo. I don't see why that guy will merit it. Ahead of the other players, other good players you mentioned.
All right, thank you very much. Ike from Dominic City. Melvin, let's move on to the next caller. 0322083596, 0322083597. Hello, good afternoon. Kalusha Mandem, how are you doing?
I'm good.
Let's hear your name.
None of good show.
Thank you.
None of me, never again. Secondly, it's a question. When are you going to be discussing Ghana Premier League like the way you did the European football?
Tomorrow on kickoff, we'll do that.
Okay.
Kalusha. Anyway, hey, we don't have time. Melvin, do we have another caller on? Let me see. Do you have another caller on? Okay. All right. So it's 10 minutes to top hit to the top of the hour at 4 p.m. At 4, Melvin will take over with the drive together with DJ Hashtag and Samuel Jupiter. My name is Temunozando. I was in here with Joshua Holutu, Princeton, connected on the telephone from the Manchia Palace. Tomorrow at exactly 6 a.m. we're here to bring you everything sports on Kickoff right here on Love 99.5 FM. A quick commercial break, then Melvin takes over.
Mami money ejuma. Udan ya ye fe. Mira me da say. Na esumo